Hello everyone. I'm Eric, the workplace safety guy, and today, I want to take you on a journey. A journey that for many, might seem to be about something as mundane as a pair of shoes. But believe me, it's a journey about safety, about protection, and above all, about the health and well-being of millions of workers. Look at these boots here in front of me. To most, they're just work shoes. But for me, and I hope for you after this video, they represent a crucial barrier between a normal day and an accident that could change a life. You know, I've always been fascinated by how things work, especially in the world of safety. And one of the areas that intrigued me the most was foot protection. How many times have we walked past a construction site, a factory, or even a warehouse, and seen people wearing sturdy boots? But have you ever stopped to think why they're so sturdy? Or what exactly makes them safe? I asked myself these questions, and the answer led me to a deep dive into American standards. And what I discovered, I want to share with you today. Let's be honest, accidents happen. And feet, oh feet. They are the foundation of our body, they carry us everywhere, support our weight, and are constantly exposed to dangers. Think with me, a hammer that slips, a heavy box that falls, a nail on the floor, an exposed electrical wire, spilled chemicals. The list is long. I myself once had a scare. It wasn't serious, but it made me think. I was, a few years ago, helping a friend move some heavy furniture. Luckily, I was wearing some sturdier boots. One of the legs of a solid wood table slipped and fell right on my foot. If I had been wearing sneakers, the story would have been very different. That stuck with me. And it made me realize that in the workplace, where risks are multiplied and constant, protection is not a luxury, it's an absolute necessity. In the United States, the statistics are clear. Foot injuries are a common occurrence. Thousands of workers suffer foot injuries every year, many of them disabling. And the good news is that the vast majority of these injuries could be prevented with the proper use of protective footwear. That's why this conversation is so important. My first stop in this investigation was, of course, OSHA. For those unfamiliar, OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, is the federal agency in the United States with a clear mission: to ensure safe and healthy working conditions for all American workers. Think of it as the great guardian of workplace safety. I started reading the documents, the regulations, and I realized that OSHA is not just a body that tells you what to do. It's the driving force behind a safer work environment. And when it comes to foot protection, OSHA is very specific in its requirements. The main regulation I found, and which became the pillar of my research, is 29 CFR 1910-136. For those not in the field, this might seem like a boring code, but for me, it was like unraveling a treasure map of safety. This standard, which applies to general industry, is crystal clear. Employers must ensure that their employees wear protective footwear when there is a danger of foot injuries due to falling or rolling objects, sharp objects that could pierce the sole or the top of the foot, exposure to electrical hazards, other hazards that could cause foot injuries. And it also adds a comprehensive category: other hazards that could cause foot injuries. This shows the breadth of the employer's responsibility. It's not just about the obvious, but about anticipating and mitigating any potential risk. Delving a little deeper into OSHA, I understood that the agency not only requires the use of protective footwear but also establishes a process. And the first step of that process is crucial: hazard assessment. Imagine yourself as an employer. You can't just buy any boot and expect it to fit everyone. OSHA requires you, as an employer, to look at your workplace with critical eyes. What are the specific risks? Are there heavy machines? Are there nails on the floor? Are there chemicals? Is there exposed wiring? This detailed assessment is what will guide the choice of the right footwear. It's like a doctor diagnosing the illness before prescribing the medicine. After the assessment comes proper selection. It's not a matter of anything goes. It's about choosing footwear that truly offers the necessary protection against the identified hazards. And here's a point that caught my attention: OSHA requires the employer to provide the protective footwear, or ensure the worker has it and that it is adequate. And in most cases, the cost of this specific PP is the employer's responsibility. This is a serious commitment to safety. And it doesn't stop there. The employer is also responsible for maintaining the footwear in safe and sanitary conditions. Damaged footwear doesn't protect. And of course, training. What good is having the best footwear if the worker doesn't know why to wear it, how to wear it correctly, or how to identify when it needs to be replaced? OSHA thinks of all this, and I found that very clever. While OSHA tells us what to do, it doesn't go into the details of how footwear should be constructed to be safe. That's where ASTM International comes in. This was one of my biggest discoveries, and it's where the science and engineering of safety truly shine. ASTM International, formerly known as the American Society for Testing and Materials, is an organization that develops consensus standards. Think of them as the engineers of safety. They create the detailed performance criteria and test methods for a multitude of products, including our protective footwear. OSHA, in its wisdom, refers to these ASTM standards. It says, employers, you need footwear that protects against impact, compression, etc. And this footwear must comply with the ASTM F2413 standard. ASTM F2413 is the gold standard in the US for protective footwear. It replaced an older standard, ANSI Z41, and it's what you should look for when choosing safety footwear. When I started to understand F2413, it was like a new language opened up to me. Every letter, every number, has a profound meaning in terms of protection. Now get ready, because we're going to decipher the secret language of safety footwear. When you pick up a boot certified by ASTM F2413, you'll find a label, usually on the tongue or inside. This label isn't just a tag, it's a certificate of protection. Visual, example of an ASTM F2413 label with highlighted markings. The first line usually indicates the standard and the year of the edition, like ASTM F2413, 18. This tells me the footwear has been tested and meets the requirements of the 2018 edition of the standard. The second line is where things start to get interesting. You'll see something like MI/C75. The M means the footwear is for male use. If it were F, it would be female. But in practice, many footwear items are unisex in terms of protection. The I is for impact. This means the toe cap of the footwear has been tested to protect against falling objects. And here comes the number I/75, I/50, or I/30. The 75 foot is the highest level, indicating that the toe cap can withstand an impact of 75 foot-pounds of energy. Think of something heavy falling from a considerable height. That's robust protection. The C is for compression. This tests the toe cap's ability to resist heavy objects rolling over it or crushing it. Again, we have C/75, C/50, or C/30. The C/75 is the highest level, meaning the toe cap can withstand a compression force of 2,500 pounds. That's a lot of pressure. So footwear marked MI/75 C/75 tells me it offers the highest protection against impact and compression for the toes. This is fundamental in construction sites, factories with heavy machinery, or warehouses where pallets might fall. But protection doesn't stop at the toe cap. ASTM F2413 goes further, with codes for additional protections, which are optional but often essential depending on the work environment. MT, metatarsal protection. This was one of the protections that caught my attention the most. The toe cap protects the toes, but what about the top of the foot? The metatarsal bones are vulnerable. Metatarsal protection, often an internal or external plate, protects this area against impact and compression. I think of jobs involving sheet metal, or where there's a high risk of heavy objects falling onto the instep. It's an extra layer of safety that makes all the difference. EH, electrical hazard protection. This is vital for electricians and anyone working near electrical wiring. EH footwear is made of non-conductive materials, like rubber or leather, and contains no exposed metal. They are designed to insulate the wearer from open electrical circuits, reducing the risk of electric shock. The standard requires them to withstand 18,000 volts at 60 Hz for 1 minute without current flow. It's impressive protection, but it's important to remember that they are not for use in explosive environments or where there's a risk of static electricity. CD, conductive protection. Now, this is where things get interesting and a bit counterintuitive for some. While EH footwear insulates, CD footwear conducts. They are designed to dissipate static electricity from the body to the ground as quickly as possible. Why is this important? Think of explosives industries, or environments with flammable gases. A small spark of static electricity can cause a catastrophe. CD footwear ensures that any static charge on the body is quickly discharged, minimizing the risk of ignition. SD static dissipative protection. These are a middle ground between EH and CD. SD footwear also dissipates static electricity, but in a more controlled way than CD. They have a specific range of electrical resistance. The main goal here is to protect sensitive electronic equipment. In environments like cleanrooms, laboratories, or the electronics industry, a static discharge can damage expensive and delicate components. SD footwear prevents excessive static buildup, protecting both the worker and the equipment. PR puncture-resistant protection. How many times have we heard stories of nails going through the sole of a shoe? PR protection is the answer to that. A puncture-resistant plate, usually made of metal or a composite material, is incorporated into the sole of the footwear. This protects the foot from sharp objects on the ground, such as nails, broken glass, or metal shards. Essential in construction sites, recycling, or any environment where the ground may present puncture hazards. SR slip resistant. Although ASTM F2413 doesn't have a specific marking for slip resistance like it does for impact or electric shock, it's a crucial safety attribute, and many safety shoes are tested for it. OSHA, in its general guidelines, emphasizes the importance of preventing slips, trips, and falls. A good non-slip sole is fundamental in wet, oily, or uneven environments. It's something I always look for, even if it's not on the main ASTM label. 25:00, 30:00 types of footwear and their applications. Choosing the right tool, my practical view. With all these codes and standards in mind, I started to see protective footwear not just as boots, but as specialized tools, each designed for a specific set of challenges. Safety toe footwear. This is the workhorse of foot protection. Whether made of steel, composite, reinforced plastic, or aluminum alloy, the toe cap is the first line of defense against impact and compression. I see this in almost every sector, from civil construction to manufacturing and warehouses. It's the basic and most common protection. Footwear with metatarsal protection. If the risk of heavy objects falling onto the top of the foot is high, such as in foundries or sheet metal work, then metatarsal protection is indispensable. It's a protection that is often overlooked but can prevent severe fractures. EH footwear for electricians. For those working with electricity, there's no debate. EH footwear is critical PP. It can be the difference between a scare and a fatality. CD footwear for explosive environments. In environments where the slightest spark can be disastrous, such as in explosives manufacturing or certain industrial painting operations, conductive footwear is the obvious choice. They are designed to keep both the worker and the environment safe. SD footwear for sensitive electronics. In the high-tech industry, where electronic components are extremely sensitive to static discharge, SD footwear is essential. They protect not only the worker but also expensive products and the integrity of the manufacturing process. PR footwear for hazardous terrain. On construction sites full of debris, or in recycling jobs where nails and other sharp objects are a constant threat, puncture resistance is a lifesaver. Chemical-resistant footwear. In laboratories or chemical industries, where spills are a possibility, footwear made of specific materials that resist degradation by chemicals is crucial. It's not just about the toe cap, but about the integrity of the entire footwear material. Waterproof/water-resistant footwear. For those working outdoors, in wet environments, or in food processing, keeping feet dry is vital not only for comfort but to prevent health problems and slips. The beauty of these standards is that they allow us to combine different types of protection to create the perfect footwear for almost any work environment. It's a very intelligent and effective approach to safety. In my journey, I realized that safety is not a one-way street. It's a shared responsibility, a collaboration between the employer and the employee. From the employer's side, I've already mentioned hazard assessment and PP selection. But OSHA goes further. It requires the employer to develop and implement a PP program. This isn't just about buying boots, it's about creating a safety culture. It's about ensuring that the footwear is properly fitted, that workers know how to use it, how to maintain it, and when it needs to be replaced. And as I said, in most cases, the employer pays for this specific PP. This is an investment in the lives and health of their employees. From the employee's side, but the employee also plays a fundamental role. It's no good for the employer to provide the best safety footwear in the world if the employee doesn't wear it, or wears it improperly. My research showed me that OSHA expects the employee to wear the footwear correctly, It's not a fashion accessory, it's a protective tool. Inspect the footwear regularly. Before each shift, a quick glance can identify damage that compromises protection. A dented toe cap, a punctured sole, a cracked material, all of this can mean the footwear is no longer safe. Report problems. If the footwear is damaged or not functioning correctly, it's the employee's duty to inform their supervisor. Everyone's safety depends on it. Care for the footwear, proper maintenance, such as cleaning and correct storage, can extend the lifespan and effectiveness of the footwear. It's a partnership. The employer provides the tools and knowledge, and the employee uses them responsibly. When this partnership works, the workplace becomes exponentially safer. As I delved into the standards, one thing became very clear to me: compliance with standards is essential, but it's not the only factor. Think with me, safety footwear, no matter how certified, won't protect anyone if it's so uncomfortable that the worker refuses to wear it, or wears it improperly. That's why comfort and fit are so important. Footwear that hurts, that pinches, that causes blisters, is footwear that will be avoided. And avoided footwear is a safety risk. Employers, when selecting PPE, must consider not only technical protection but also individual comfort and fit. After all, the worker will spend hours and hours with it on their feet. Durability and maintenance are also crucial points. Safety footwear doesn't last forever. Natural wear and tear, exposure to chemicals, repeated impacts, all of this can compromise its integrity. That's why regular inspection and replacement when necessary are so important. It's not about saving a few dollars, but about protecting a life. And finally, I think about industry-specific requirements. OSHA and ASTM standards are comprehensive, but some industries have even more specific needs. Think of footwear resistant to extreme heat for metalworkers, or footwear for freezing environments. The beauty of the American system is that it allows for this flexibility, encouraging the pursuit of ideal protection for every scenario. We've reached the end of our journey, and I hope that you, like me, have a new appreciation for protective footwear. They are much more than just a pair of shoes. They are the result of years of research, testing, and regulations, all with a single purpose: to protect our feet, our foundation, our ability to work and live fully. Foot protection is, in many ways, invisible protection. We don't think about it until something goes wrong. But the knowledge we've gained today gives us the power to see that protection, to understand it, and to demand it. Whether you are a worker, an employer, or just someone curious about safety, I hope this video has shed some light. Check the safety requirements in your own workplaces. Look for the ASTM F2413 markings. Understand what each letter and number means. And above all, prioritize safety. Your feet are valuable tools. Protect them with the right footwear that meets the rigorous standards of OSHA and ASTM. Because, in the end, safety is not a cost, it's an investment. An investment in lives, in well-being, and in a safer future for all of us. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. If you liked the video, please leave a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel for more content on safety and other topics that help us better understand the world around us. See you next time.